Welcome, and thank you for choosing to watch this video series. This video series provides an overview of Los Angeles City Planning's ongoing efforts to update the Boyle Heights Community Plan. This presentation is also available in Spanish. Para ver la presentación en español, por favor visite el sitio de web indicado aquí. If you have been involved throughout the process to update the community plan, we appreciate your contributions and continued engagement. If this is your first time engaging with the Boyle Heights Community Plan, thank you for joining us. We look forward to your participation. This is part one of a four-part series of presentations. This section, part one, is a general introduction to community planning in the City of Los Angeles and to the Boyle Heights Community Plan. Part two is an overview of proposed zoning tools to implement the Boyle Heights Community Plan. Part 3 is an overview of the proposed policies of the Boyle Heights Community Plan, and Part 4 is an overview of the Community Benefits Program, an important part of the Community Plan strategy to bolster affordable housing in Boyle Heights. In addition to this video series, please visit our website for detailed informational handouts, an interactive land use and zoning map, and the Draft Plan and Draft Community Benefits Program. Now let's take a closer look at the purpose of community plans in the City of Los Angeles, a vast geography that spans nearly 470 square miles. In California, every city is required to have a general plan. The general plan serves as a blueprint for the future, setting forth policies and programs that shape and guide local development. General plans tackle a number of topics, including land use. In the City of Los Angeles, decisions about land use are guided by the city's 35 community plan areas. The community plans function as a guide for growth in an equitable and sustainable way, meeting the needs of the unique neighborhoods that lie within each community plan's boundaries, and they are periodically updated by the City of Los Angeles. They reflect the community's values on issues including housing, climate change adaptation, conservation, and future development rights. As shown in the dark blue on the map, there are currently 16 community plans that the city is in the process of updating. The 6 plans shown in yellow were recently completed. The city plans to update the remaining plans, shown in light blue, once the current updates are adopted. The Boyle Heights Community Plan is one of the community plans that is currently undergoing an update, and the plan that is the focus of this video series. The community plan process involves in-depth community engagement to establish a collective vision for the neighborhood that guides future growth and development. The community plan also acts as a tool to address community issues or opportunities. This might be a need for affordable housing, a response to a recent infrastructure project, or better design protections in a community. The process includes developing and adopting a policy document that lays out this community vision and uses zoning and land use changes to implement the community vision. Plans are also updated to accommodate the needs of current and future residents of the community, which includes identifying areas for housing and job growth in a meaningful and equitable way. The community plan update consists of 3 primary components: the policy document, sometimes referred to as the plan text, which contains goals, policies, and programs to be carried out in the future; the land use map; and the new zoning to help implement the community vision. Let's take a closer look at each of these. The community plan policy document contains a number of goals and policies that are focused around a vision for the community to be carried out for the next 20 or so years. The goals in the community plan are aspirational in nature and are written as an end state or desired outcome. The policies in the community plan provide steps that can be taken to achieve the broader goals. For example, here we see a goal to have residential development support the diverse housing needs of the Boyle Heights community. And then one of the policies, promote the development of residential units with 3 or more bedrooms to support extended family households and multi-generational living. That can help to accomplish that goal. These goals and policies are used by the city to guide various decisions, such as establishing the city budget or creating new city programs. The goals and policies are also used when the city considers applications for various types of development projects. Some programs that are included in the plan text outline next steps and future department work programs if and when funding becomes available, as well as future collaboration with other departments and agencies, as you can see here. But one of the things that's unique about community plans is that the primary program to implement the plans is through zoning and land use. Now let's dig into land use. The land use map generally identifies where broad categories of land uses will be located in the community, such as residential, commercial, industrial, and open space uses. While the policy document is more aspirational in nature, everything on the land use map is binding. During the community plan update process, each property is assigned a land use designation, and each designation corresponds to a specific set of zoning districts that can be used. What do we mean by corresponding zoning districts or zones? Each land use designation on the map allows for a certain range of zones, sometimes just one and sometimes quite a few. For example, residential zoning districts would be allowed in the designations shown in yellow and orange, and the industrial zoning districts are allowed in the designations shown in blue. All right, now we'll provide a brief overview on zoning. Keep in mind that the broader community plan goals and policies, the land use designations, and the zoning for each particular property are all related, because zoning is the tool used to implement the goals and the policies of the plans. Zoning determines what you can build and do on any given parcel of land. It includes use regulations that say what a property can be used for, such as single-unit housing, apartments, retail, or auto repair, as well as development regulations, or rules about what the building will look like, including required setbacks, maximum height, building coverage, or maximum FAR, which stands for floor area ratio, and generally tells you how big of a building can be built on a site. Through the community plan update process, zoning is identified for properties within the community plan boundaries, which allows the city to apply specific development standards to each property. For more detailed information regarding the new proposed zoning code, please see Part 2 of this video series. Now that we've walked through the three main components of a community plan update, we will walk through some of the fundamental issues that a community plan can address. Using the policy document and updates to land use and zoning, community planning addresses three major overarching issues that are pressing in our city and our region today: climate change, access to housing, and equity. Community plans address climate change by encouraging sustainable development patterns, addressing compatibility between uses that have historically led to environmental justice issues, and allowing community members to have multiple options of transportation to get to and from work, school, or errands. In addition, the community planning process balances housing needs for current and future residents of the plan area. This is done by working with the community to identify areas of the neighborhood where more housing can be accommodated as our city and region grow, while also finding ways to alleviate possible development pressures on existing neighborhoods, allowing residents to stay in their homes. Community planning strives to embed equity in all aspects of the process through collaboration with community partners, providing access to community meetings and information, and by creating and implementing policies that help our city move towards a more equitable future for all of its residents. The community planning process also helps to embed state and regional policies at a neighborhood-focused scale, such as state bills that advance issues related to climate change and housing. Now that we've talked through community planning in the City of LA, let's move on to a more in-depth introduction to the Boyle Heights Community Plan. This section will provide background information on the Boyle Heights neighborhood, as well as a brief overview of the plan update process so far, highlighting key input we have received through past outreach and engagement with stakeholders over the years. Boyle Heights is a neighborhood directly to the east of downtown Los Angeles. It is estimated that approximately 86,000 people live in Boyle Heights today, 93% of whom identify as Latino or Latina. The median household income is about $36,000 a year, and the average household size is about 3 to 4 people. The Boyle Heights plan area is approximately 3,010 acres, or about 6 square miles, with an estimated 22,000 dwelling units. Boyle Heights is a relatively young community, with 50% of households having one or more persons under 18 years old, and 75% of all households are occupied by renters. Boyle Heights was one of the first neighborhoods outside of downtown Los Angeles, developed during the 19th century. Here we see the number of housing units constructed during different eras of development in Boyle Heights. The majority of units, about 89% of them, were built before 1978, with approximately 71% of all multi-unit properties in Boyle Heights built before 1978. It is important to note that the city's Rent Stabilization Ordinance, or RSO, applies to multi-unit properties built before 1978, which makes a high percentage of existing housing stock in Boyle Heights subject to the RSO. Boyle Heights is characterized by predominantly multi-unit residential land uses, but also by its jobs-producing industrial and manufacturing base. Here's a percentage breakdown of existing land use categories in Boyle Heights in acres for residential, commercial, industrial, public facilities, and open space land uses. The Boyle Heights Community Plan was last updated in 1998, and since that update, there have been shifting housing needs and new infrastructure investment, primarily in the form of the 4 Metro L line, formerly the Gold Line, stations across the plan area. This plan update began in 2012 and has since been an ongoing process of community engagement. The 1998 Community Plan identifies Cesar Chavez, a corridor designated as a historical cultural monument and one of the most well-established main streets in the community, as an area where the highest intensity of new growth should occur. In addition, existing zoning regulations adopted as part of the 1998 plan do not sufficiently protect existing residential neighborhoods from redevelopment, and do not adequately address incompatible industrial uses near residential uses. These are some examples of issues identified by the community where there is opportunity to better address the needs of current residents by updating the community plan. In the absence of the community plan being updated, the many community-based organizations in Boyle Heights have led concurrent community-driven planning processes to advocate for affordable housing, local small business and employment opportunities, open space, opportunities for street vending, and to address the pressures of gentrification and displacement. This plan provides a venue for addressing these needs by incorporating community voices and ideas. Community input through public engagement is at the heart of the community planning process. This not only provides a way for residents and stakeholders to shape policy that impacts their lives, but it also ensures that Los Angeles city planning is taking an equitable approach to land use policy development by hearing from a wide variety of stakeholders. Since 2012, city planning has held outreach through workshops, focus groups, open houses, office hours, presentations, in collaboration with community-based organizations to solicit input from the community and develop a vision for the neighborhood. Some key outreach events that have been held in recent years include a scoping meeting to kick off the environmental review process in 2016, open houses throughout the fall of 2017 and winter of 2018 to release the initial draft plan and zoning concepts, roundtable discussions with various neighborhood council committees throughout 2018, a partnership with community organizations to hold a Planning 101 workshop in July of 2019, and Planning 101 presentations in the fall of 2019 in partnership with the Boyle Heights Neighborhood Council Land Use Committee. In the fall of last year, we released an updated draft of the plan materials, which included the plan text, the land use map, the zoning pages, and the community benefits program, and the team held office hours with stakeholders to discuss the materials. The plan vision was developed over the years through input by various stakeholders from the Boyle Heights community and is used as an overarching guide for the policy direction throughout the process of developing the community plan. Here are some of the key needs and themes that have been heard throughout this process. We have heard the need to preserve existing rent-stabilized housing and create more affordable housing, concerns over displacement of residents and local small businesses, cleaner uses in employment centers, and better access to healthy foods, both through corner stores known as tienditas and through support for street vending. This input has served as the foundation from which the policy direction for the Boyle Heights Community Plan has taken shape. The next step in the plan update process is to release the draft environmental impact report in the coming months, which is a requirement under the California Environmental Quality Act, also known as CEQA. What is CEQA? CEQA was enacted by the state of California in 1970, and it is a statewide law that requires public agencies and local governments, like the City of Los Angeles, to analyze the environmental impacts of development projects and other major land use decisions that require local approval, which are also known as discretionary projects. It also requires that agencies work to limit or avoid those impacts when at all possible. Under CEQA, agencies are required to study the impacts of public and private developments, as well as planning decisions that don't directly result in new development, such as a community plan update. As part of this process, Los Angeles City Planning prepares an environmental study that attempts to analyze what the possible future impacts of potential developments that might occur as a result of the new regulations that are adopted in the community plan update process. A draft report of this environmental study, called an Environmental Impact Report, or EIR, is produced, and once the draft EIR is released, comments on the EIR are welcomed during a specific comment period, which is usually 60 days. It is important to note that comments on the community plan policy document, draft zoning, or community benefits program do not have to be submitted during this comment period for the draft EIR, and that we are continuously accepting feedback on the draft plan and zoning throughout the plan process. These are the categories required to be analyzed under CEQA, and which you will see in the forthcoming draft EIR. For more information on CEQA, please visit planning4la.org and stay tuned for future informational guides from Los Angeles City Planning on the environmental review process. The timeline here shows our current phase and what our next steps are. Last September, City Planning released the updated community plan document along with the draft community benefits program and draft zoning for Boyle Heights. In the coming months, we will release a draft EIR, which is the environmental review of the potential environmental impacts of the proposed plan. After a comment period for the draft EIR, we will hold a public hearing on the draft plan and zoning changes, which kicks off the adoption process for the community plan. After the public hearing, a recommended plan will be brought to the City Planning Commission and finally adopted by City Council. Leading up to and during the entire adoption process, there are many opportunities for continued public input, feedback, and comments. Thank you for viewing part 1 of this 4-part video series. Please view the next 3 parts for additional information related to the Boyle Heights Community Plan, which you can find on our website at planning4la.org/bhplan. You can also visit our website for the recently released plan document, community benefits program, as well as an interactive zoning map and informational handouts. In addition, on our website, you can sign up for our email list to be notified of future releases and public hearing dates. Thank you for your continued involvement in the community planning process.